Head over to Victoria right now. You guys are going to start icing that cake? Is that what's happening?
We are. We are going to start icing the cake. We're going to change subject to something more appetizing.
Yes.
Cake. Chef Gretchen from NCCC, pastry chef. We have a buttercream frosting.
This is buttercream made with butter versus Crisco. Crisco frosting kind of leaves a mouthfeel to it where the butter melts in your mouth easier, but the Crisco holds up better outside versus the butter can potentially melt outside. So both have their advantages and disadvantages.
You also put cream in it because you made this frosting before, something, right?
I did. There's a little bit of cream to thin it out. There's the 10x/confectioner sugar, vanilla, whatever you want to add to it.
Okay, and you put that in like a Cuisinart or something mixer?
You want to cream it together, add your sugar, taste as you go along the way, which is fun. So
okay, this is all I'm allowed to do. Glop it on?
You can glop it on. What you'd want to do first, if you had like a mound here, you want to take your knife and cut it. You know what I mean? You'd want it to be flat. You want both your cakes to be flat.
Okay.
However, when you start to cut it, do not put your hand here and cut through, because you're going to cut your hand. So you'd want to put your hand on top of the cake and cut like this. So that way, no potential.
You have to cut the top of the cake?
I don't have to on this one, but some cakes, yes.
Because they go up high.
They get like a little mound on it, they rise up, and you want them to be flat.
You got any tips on keeping it flat like yours?
It depends on the recipe. It depends on the recipe that you use and how filled, you know, the pans are and
how
stuff
much air
like that.
you get in your cake or something?
How it works out, the science behind it.
Okay, so what do I do?
So glop on.
Glop on.
This would be your filling. You could put any kind of filling in. You can keep going.
When yours spins.
Yes,
more glop more?
Glop more. This is a cake table.
More?
Let me see.
Oh, that's a lot. That's great.
You just want to get like a healthy little edge on it. Flat, obviously flat. I'm using an offset spatula to ice all my cakes with, and they come in different sizes depending on what you're using them for.
Is that like a scraper on the wall? More? Oh, no,
kind of, is right, like a plaster. That would be perfect. And so what we're going to do then is take our cake,
another flat one,
and you're going to flip it and put it on like this. Because I know that this bottom is flat no matter what. If there were for some reason that I were cutting the top, if I wasn't the best cutter, it could be uneven.
Well, what if you had the uneven? That's wrong?
It wouldn't be wrong. It would just maybe leave like a finished, not so pretty.
Not as professional.
So you always want to flip it over because this way I know it's flat. Guaranteed flat.
Great.
More on top. You want to start with the stuff on top. So put your stuff on the top. You want to smooth that out.
You have such a ginger touch about this.
This is just from years and years of icing cakes.
Oh my goodness. Now, have classes started for you?
Classes are starting soon. I have not started teaching. I'll be back later in the fall for the classical pastry class where we do stuff like this, and we start working on our piping skills, and we practice icing cakes and piping and writing in about 20 to 30 minutes a day. Each class the kids are practicing, because it takes that long to get good at it, I promise.
Okay. How much time do we have, Lauren? We need to get some of our beauty, her art. We have 2 minutes left.
So once you've got your top on, you want to start with your sides.
Okay.
If you're working with a particularly crummy cake, not that it's bad, crummy as in the crumbs coming off, you can always put a crumb coat on. And that is just a very thin coat that you would run all the way along. Glue? Yeah, to kind of glue all the crumbs in if you're concerned about that at all. Especially if you're working with a chocolate cake and white frosting.
My stomach is growling just watching this. Have you heard it? I've been a little embarrassed.
No, it's fine. So you would go all the way around, smoothing as you go. And that would produce a finish like this. If you wanted to, they sell cake combs with like the teeth on them. You can buy those, or everyone obviously has a serrated knife. If you wanted a different finish.
Oh, look at that.
You could always do something like that.
Very creative.
Now, once you have the whole cake ice and you notice you have this ridge, you want to go back.
Okay, we have 1 minute.
And take off your little ridge.
Like Bob Ross.
But like or Joan Rivers.
So what I'm going to do quickly is I have a bag with a regular star tip on it.
Okay.
When you fill your piping bags, you just kind of want to put it over your hand like this. And you can fill it with a spatula, your offset, whatever tools you have handy.
And this is a star?
This is a star tip.
Okay. And you can buy different types of tips?
The whole range.
Just a few dollars?
I think they're like 50 cents, maybe $1, if that. Yeah, they're really cheap. And what I'm going to start with is a bottom border. And this is just like a shell.
Wow.
And then I can do a top border, And it's kind of like a reverse shell, kind of closed with a little tail.
You know what happens to me every time I eat? Right, it has to stop because I can't squeeze any more out. I'm at the
Right.
level.
Right, yeah, that's okay. You can stop, keep it twisted, keep the pressure, just one hand. If you want to use this hand to sort of guide with as you go.
Now, let's say you mess up. Can you just take the frosting and try it again?
Of course, that's the best part. Look.
Look at that. Eraser.
Eraser.
Magic. All right.
And I can always go back and do a different tip.
Look at that, like a paisley or something.
It's kind of like a bigger shell tip.
All right. We've got 20 seconds.
What I'll do is I'll finish this on the break.
Okay.
And when we come back,
It'll be magic.
it'll be like magic. And then we will work on using some of our different tips.
I will work my
cupcakes.
creation once more after all of
You
doing
will.
those 3.
They will look beautiful, I promise.